to share with you the significance of seeing a crow and how they impact upon our spiritual journey. I'm going to take you through what this means if you see a crow and you've had a strange experience with one. Now, a crow has a mental age of a 7-year-old. Yes, a 7-year-old. Crows teach us something. What is the spiritual message? We can hear the expression eating crow, and this can indicate that you need to accept defeat. I'm now going to run through what that crow means. Number one, what is the difference between a crow and a raven? Ravens are massive. They have wedge-shaped tails, and crows have feather-shaped tails. So next time you see a crow, take a look at the tail. I know you probably didn't do this with the crow that you've just seen, but it is important to understand the symbolism. Number two, what is the biblical meaning of seeing a crow or the raven? The first bird in the Bible was a raven. It's all about stretching yourself. Noah released a raven from the ark and a dove at different times. The goal for sending these birds out was to determine if the flood water had diminished for Noah and the family to exit the ark. Importantly, the raven didn't come back, but the dove did, because the dove couldn't survive on the vegetation. This tells us that ravens and crows are all about survival. It's about looking at your environment, positioning yourself to flourish. Do you have the family to support you? Do you have a network of people around you to encourage you? Or are you alone? If you're alone, then it means that you've got to find the strength from within. Number three, survival. Crows are all about survival, and spiritually this can mean that you're in an environment that doesn't help you right now. If we look at crows together, they sneak about, they stay together to be successful. Think about your environment and the people around you. Crows act together, they live together, they are together. They gather around their dead and they squawk. They see death, the end, the transformation. There's a scientific experiment that I want to share with you that basically a set of scientists wanted to understand what the crows mean from a deaf perspective. Can they recognise death? And the result was yes, they can. They took a crow, a dead crow, they didn't do anything with it, they just took it out to a massive group of crows for 65 days. And the interesting thing is that they recognise that crows know the danger of death through the experience. Because they squawked, they were worried about seeing the dead crow, but when they took a pigeon out, they didn't care, they didn't squawk. So, what does this scientific experiment tell us about crows? Quite simply, it tells us that crows recognise death, they recognise transformation, and this could be a key message for you spiritually, that you need to recognise your transformation in life. When we look at the scientists, they took that crow, that dead crow out over and over again, and they still had a reaction. So what I'm trying to say here is, what is it that you need to leave behind? How can you transform your life into what it is supposed to be right now? We can also see that crows, they fight. They're always in the battlefield. They're always in conflict with each other. It might be a period for you right now where you see yourself on a battlefield for your course of destiny. Again, if you are looking at moving forward in life, the crow can be a symbolism that transformation is coming. If you can hear crows, if you can hear them in the morning or at night, it can simply mean that you need to have a higher perspective, be fearless, be traditional, and overcome a difficult person, a manipulator, a trickster. Next thing up, what does the numbers of crows mean? And many people have messaged me about this, and it's normally a song to do with magpies. Magpies are part of the crow family, part of the raven family. You, I am sure, when you was a child, heard this song. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret that must never be told. But this applies to magpies, not crows. If you see one magpie, then in folklore you should salute that magpie because it cancels out bad luck. So this poem itself, it's from the 17th century in England, and it stayed with us as a society, a superstition that seeing more than one magpie is prosperous, but just seeing the single magpie would bring bad luck. Now, moving on, we can also see that crows are an aggressive bird. They are particularly aggressive with magpies. They are not tolerant of anything at all. So if you have seen a crow in your garden, it could be a sign that you should not tolerate any crap of anybody, and you should think about yourself. Let's now quickly look at the spiritual message of seeing a crow. The general consensus, the spiritual message is to fight for what you want in life. This is a symbolism to say that you are strong enough to break down your problems. It means that nothing will come from nothing. You have to work at something. If you are facing a storm at the moment, if you are fighting for survival, fighting in your life, it can be exhausting. Yes, we all know that fighting can be exhausting. Even if you win, you will still be damaged. Even if you win, you will still feel hurt. Even if you win, you will be wounded. Sometimes when we fight in life, fight for anything, fight for what we believe, what we want, from career, relationships, even if you turn out to be a winner, you will still be emotionally damaged. And this is the message of the crow, because they continually fight. They're always in conflict. If you're feeling tired right now, if you're in a fight, the crow came to show you to keep on going. You can battle. Yes, you see, people are sometimes so focused on fighting that when they win, they sit back and cannot enjoy this because they are so emotionally drained, and it costs so much emotionally. Have you ever looked for comfort from your network of people and you find conflict? That is also the message of the crow, because they are continually in battle with each other and fighting. It can mean that you are feeling weary at fighting. And this can be the message of the crow, especially if you see it in flight. The other thing that I just wanted to touch on is that not only does the crow symbolise battling, fighting, that it's not necessarily associated with the dark and evil context that we read in books. The crow is all about your own spiritual journey. If you are seeing or feeding crows, many people have contacted me because they fed crows and wondered what it means. It can mean the crow has come to you in order to give you strength, in order for you to find the energy to focus on what you want and actually fight for it. If there are things in your life right now that aren't right, the crow often appears. It appears to give you the motivation that you can fight. It's all about fighting transformation and deciding what you want, and not to walk on this path of life with negative people around you. I do hope you enjoyed that interpretation. If you've had an encounter with the crow, please pop it down in my comments. Please subscribe and like, and visit my website Auntyflo.com. Blessings.